Assalamu alaikum. Student, today I am going to explain you a very interesting topic from standard 6th subject science. Everybody loves to travel, maybe in a car or by train or by bus. While traveling in a car, when we sit in any vehicle and see outside the window, we observe that all things move in the backward direction. Is this so? The answer is no. Let's take another example. This is Shan. Shan standing on the road and see other vehicle appear to be in a state of motion. If the observer sees an object changing its position with respect to its surrounding, then we see that the object is moving. In our day-to-day life, we see various things moving around us. Simple example that can I give: people walking on the street, birds flying in the sky, vehicle moving on the road. Can you identify which of the following objects are in motion and which are at rest? Yes, we see that the flying plane, flying bird, the windmill, a person walking on the street are in motion, whereas the lion and building is at rest. So let's study what is motion and what are the types of motion. Do you know Earth and other planets also undergo motion? Yes, they are revolving around the sun. You can give me thousands of such examples of motion. But what I ask you to tell me, what is definition of motion? How can we define motion? Well, for that we need to look what is exactly happen to our body when it is in motion. For that we look another example. As you can see here, this vehicle moves from point A to point B. As you can see, when it's moving from point A to point B, its position changes. Notice about that changing of position of an object. In simple words, we can say change in position of an object is known as a motion. Here the another example or another definition for motion is the continuous displacement of an object is called motion. The movement of an object from one place to another at a given time is called the motion of that object. For example, fruit falling from tree or any vehicle moving on the road are the such examples of motion. There are many examples of motion. A book falling off a table, water flowing from the tap. The motion can either be slow or fast, but motion exists. Our daily activities like walking, running, closing and opening door or windows, air that we breathe exhibits the motion. So in our day-to-day life, we perform various activities that we can give the example of motion. Let us study about the types of motion. There are mainly two types of motion. The first one is known as a linear motion and the second one is non-linear motion. Now we will see what is meant by linear motion. Here you can see an aeroplane is moving. If you can see the movement of aeroplane, it's moving in one direction, not coming backward. gone in one straight path. So such object which moves in one direction or in a straight path is called linear motion. We can compare linear motion with ray also. As everyone know about the train, as a train moves also in one direction is a good example for linear motion. Similarly, we can give the example of this ant. This ant move in one direction is another example of linear motion. Car moving in one direction is one more a good example of linear motion. Now there are, or if want to, we can say the exact definition of linear motion is motion in only one direction is called linear motion. Okay, the motion is only in one direction, so that's why I told you can compare linear motion with ray. Or another definition for linear motion is if the object is displayed in a straight line, then it is called the linear motion. Similarly, one more definition you can say, an object in a linear motion shows displacement along a straight line. So here the three different kinds of definition for linear motion. So always remember, linear motion means motion in only one direction. Student, there are two types of linear motion. So first one is known as the uniform linear motion and the second one is non-uniform linear motion. Now what is meant by uniform linear motion? If you're going to observe here, the motion of soldiers in a parade is the same. During that period, not even a slight difference is seen. The motion of the marching soldier is uniform linear motion because in this motion no change is seen. So we can see the another example for uniform linear motion is motion of the hands of the clock or motion of the bullet fired from the gun. Now what is mean by non-uniform linear motion? The motion of the girl coming down the slide does not appear to be uniform. The girl comes down faster and faster. The speed of her motion goes on increasing. The motion of the girl coming down the slide is non-uniform linear motion. Students, you all have played on the slide. When you come down from slide, you have experienced that your speed increasing continuously. Such kind of motion is known as a non-uniform linear motion. So there is one, we can say the difference between uniform and non-uniform is in uniform, the displacement or we can say the motion is straight. That means there is no changes, only smooth will be there, but in a non-uniform the movement or the motion is faster and faster and increasing continuously. Here one more example for non-uniform linear motion, motion of the person jogging the garden or motion of the car traveling on the road with different speeds. Now we will see the next example. If you observe this, car is moving round and round, but not in a straight line or a straight path. Similarly, this bird is not flying in a straight line, as everyone know the motion of butterfly. So, my dear student, such kind of motion is known as a non-linear motion. The motion of an object that does not moves in a straight line is called non-linear motion. So linear means straight line and non-linear means not in a straight line. Example of nonlinear motion you can give as a motion of the bouncing ball or motion of the animals roaming in the jungle. Now, types of nonlinear motion. There are basically four types. The first one is oscillatory motion. Second one is circular motion. Next is periodic motion. And the last one is random motion. So quickly we will study all the types of motion. Did you know what kind of movement does a pendulum of the clock showing in this picture? We can see the pendulum always coming back and forth and taking about same time for each oscillation. This is an example of oscillatory motion. So quickly we will see what is mean by oscillatory motion. When an object repeats the same movement over and over from its mean position is called oscillatory motion. So just have a look at one more example. Again, this is a very simple and best example for oscillatory motion. If you observe the movement of the swing always comes back to one end to the another end. So again, such a good example for oscillatory motion. Similarly, this chairs also show a motion in a oscillatory type. So this is one more good example for oscillatory motion. The motion of the wings of a bird is also a good example of oscillatory motion. Now, if you see here in this picture, the child is moving round and round and around. That means in a circular manner. So, this is the example for circular motion. Circular means in a circular manner, in a circle. So, the motion in a circular manner is known as a circular motion. So, have a look at the definition of circular motion. The motion of an object along a circular path is called a circular motion. Have a look at another example. As you can see here, the earth is moving in a circular manner around the sun. Is a very good example about the circular motion. Similarly, in this picture, the giant wheel as well as the merry-go-round. All this movement is in a circular way. So, this take a circular route. Yes, a giant wheel and a merry-go-round complete one round in a circular route. So these are the example for circular motion. Everyone know the movement of the fan. How the fan is moving? Yes, it is moving in a circular motion. So again, this is a good example for circular motion. This is one more example, as in the bicycle, the tire of the bicycle is moving in a circular way. So this is the example of circular motion. Now, we saw the example of oscillatory motion as well as a circular motion. So, the motion of an object which passes through a certain point again and again after a fixed period is called periodic motion. Here the term period means time. On a simple language we can say the object complete one round or one oscillation in a fixed time or period is called as a periodic motion. Again, the example of this giant wheel. This giant will complete one rotation in a one fixed time. So, this is an example for oscillatory motion. Example of periodic motion. Similarly, the example about this merry-go-round. If you see again a good example for periodic motion, we know that the minute hand of a clock complete one round in exactly 60 minutes every time. This is the example of periodic motion. Another we can give the example about the earth. Earth rotate around the sun, complete one rotation in 365 days, and all the planets again rotate in a fixed time around the sun. So these all are the examples of periodic motion. Now student, if you're going to see over here, this is the another example. Here if you observe in this picture, the ball hit by the player goes anywhere, not a fixed path of time or complete one rotation and then comes back to the player. So such kind of example is known as a random motion. The meaning of random means anywhere. So this is a good example for random motion. So what is the definition of random motion? The motion that changes its direction and speed continuously is called random motion. Means if the motion change its direction anytime, anywhere, continuously it's changing that position or direction or speed, is known as a random motion. The butterfly. Motion of a butterfly is another a good example of random motion. Here, as you can see here, again the motion of player in the football game moving here and there is also the random motion. They are moving randomly here and there. Similarly, baby crawling doesn't crawl in a straight line, crawl anywhere. Similarly, again the good example is a smoke comes out from a factory is also an example of random motion. So, my dear student, today you have learned about motion and its two types and again the types of motion. So, hope you enjoyed, and that's all for today. Thank you so much.